Get to know about the latest events at Far East Broadcasting Company Philippines in its mission of communicating the good news of Jesus Christ on air, online, and on the ground. Here is Dan Andrew Cura for The President's Report.
Another good day to all of you, and I'm so glad that you're joining us here today. Now, if you have internet access, you can watch this episode and more videos on demand through our new official YouTube channel, FEBC PH. So please subscribe now so you won't miss our updates every week. When we finally commit to follow God, the next question is, how far can we go? Thank God, because throughout history, we can see people who literally went the extra mile to further His kingdom. Today, let us know some of the first FEBC broadcasters who helped bring the life-changing message of salvation across borders. I'm your friend Dan Andrew, and welcome to The President's Report. In 1945, 3 American missionaries followed God's leading to launch a ministry that focused on broadcasting Christ to the world by radio. They set their hearts on China, also known as the Far East. Now, to put it in perspective, that's around 10,000 kilometers or roughly 6,000 miles away from their homeland in the United States. When China closed its doors to foreign missionaries, God opened the opportunity to establish FEBC's first radio station in the Philippines. For 2 years, Americans and Filipino volunteers built the station from the ground up, racing against time to get a license to operate a radio station. A year after its maiden broadcast, FEBC began to broadcast toward China with the help of Chinese Christians in Manila. The first Chinese language broadcaster on 702 DZAS was Mrs. Chua Kiantiang, or Phoebe Chua as we would call her. Her program was intended for Chinese Amoy dialect speakers living in Manila. Aside from being a volunteer broadcaster, Mrs. Chua was also a faithful supporter of the radio ministry. She contributed to the construction of the 300-foot radio tower in the former FEBC compound in Caruhatan, Valenzuela. Until today, our local stations continue to broadcast the Chinese programs for Amoy speakers here in the Philippines. Through shortwave radio, millions of listeners in China and Southeast Asia tune in to the program Chinese Gospel Hour, first hosted by Dr. Ho Sheng Huang. For decades, FEBC's broadcasts to China have been known as Liangyu Dentai, or Voice of Friendship Radio. Since 2002, Radio Liangyu has been adopting new technology such as the internet radio or mobile chatting apps to reach more audiences, especially the young people. Here's an interesting story for you. A medical doctor in Hong Kong first heard the gospel in his own language, but spoken by a foreigner. The doctor was referring to William Schubert, one of the first foreign missionaries who broadcast in the Mandarin language. His Mandarin was not so perfect, but his heart was so great that his listeners were able to understand God's message and come to faith in Jesus Christ. Today, the gospel reaches over 50 countries in 145 languages through 149 stations of FEBC and transmitters worldwide. 4 billion people are within reach of our broadcast every day because of your partnership. But this isn't about us. Far more important than the numbers we're reaching are the lives being impacted by the gospel message and the many ways the Lord uses this ministry to help people recognize His constant presence and experience His great love. If you see the role of radio broadcasts in reaching more people to Christ, there are many ways you can support the ongoing work of FEBC Radio. First and most powerful is through prayer. Please pray for all our broadcasters, staff, and volunteers. May the Holy Spirit help us to go the extra mile in bringing the gospel to every nation in their own language, through radio and other media platforms available today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and once again, I'm your dear friend Dan Andrew for The President's Report. God bless you, and do take care.
You've just heard The President's Report. If you would like to support the work of Far East Broadcasting Company Philippines, please visit our website, donatenow.febc.ph, or email us at info@febc.ph for your questions or suggestions.